All right. Hello. We are live. Hi, everyone. I'm Dr. Nelva Bryant of When Pets Fly, the Veterinary Air Travel Podcast. I'm here with my guest, Megan Sprinkle. And before we get started with her, and I'm sorry, Dr. Megan Sprinkle, I'm sorry, I left off doctor out there. She is a very well-accomplished veterinarian as well. But I'll get to her in a second. I'm Dr. Nelva Bryant of When Pets Fly. I am a veterinarian and I work in the airline industry. I'm on staff with Delta Airlines and I've been with them for a few years. Love the role, and it gave me an insight into the air travel industry regarding pets and other animals. And I share a lot of those insights on my platform, When Pets Fly. So I developed When Pets Fly, say, in 2020 to kind of share pet-centric travel education because I saw a lot of things that pet owners don't understand as far as preparing their pets for air travel and just protecting them, ensuring they're safe. So I share information that like I said, on my platform. I have a website, www.winpets.com. I'm on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, and I have a YouTube page. So that's my way of sharing information. And I don't know if you guys have been following me. I have slowly rebranded. So check out my new stuff. I think it's kind of cool. So, and again, I'm trying to really focus on just veterinary-led guidance and information to keep pets safe during transport. And also check too, I'm really excited about it. I was working with someone and I developed my new slogan, which is, oh gosh, now I'm going to forget it. Darn it, brain fart. I just got it. Sorry, Megan. I tell you, I'm sorry. All right, sorry, folks. I'll get to it in a second, but I get nervous and everything. Let's see. I don't know why I forgot. Forget it. Sorry. We're live too. Sorry about that, folks. Either way, I'm Dr. Nelva Bryant. Let me calm down for a second. Please, Dr. Megan, introduce yourself and move forward. Thank you.
You're fine. If you want to Google it real quick while I talk.
Yeah. I know it. It's my brain fart.
Extend it out. No, I'm Dr. Megan Sprinkle. I'm very happy to be here. I'm a board certified veterinary nutritionist of a very recently launched startup called Golden Child. They're a fresh food, dog food company. And but my background is, nutrition for a long time. I finished my residency back in 2017, believe it or not. And I have done a little bit of everything, I feel like, in the veterinary and pet spaces, everything from working for very big companies to consultants groups to now starting something from scratch. But also a big passion of mine is my podcast called Vet Life Reimagined. And we share personal stories of different career paths in veterinary medicine, like Dr. Bryant, who has a very interesting career journey herself. And pretty much anywhere pets are, veterinarians are there to advocate and support them. So a lot of opportunities to share very different things that you can do in a veterinary career.
Mm-hmm. Oh, definitely. And I'm sorry, guys, brain fart. The When Pets Fly new slogan is safe pet travel starts with us. And with us, who's us? It can start with your veterinarians, us, your pet owners, other stakeholders in the animal transportation industry. We all have a place in ensuring safe pet travel. So that is the focus of and the slogan of When Pets Fly. But yes, as veterinarians, Dr. Megan, there's so many different things you can do with your career. And to get out of vet school and limit yourself to saying, and it's not bad for those that do want to just say, I want to stay in clinical practice. But sometimes it's not stimulating enough, or you just have other interests. Or you want to, as you did, Dr. Megan, you focused on nutrition. That's great. Just again, and that's a strong part of it and opens up many doors for you. Main thing I'm just trying to reiterate to say our young budding veterinarians or veterinarians in the profession right now too is that sometimes you might have to find your niche and focus on that and go forward with it. And there's nothing wrong with it. It might require further education. Get your Master of Public Health. That opens a lot of doors, or get board certification in certain areas of veterinary medicine, and that will open further doors for you. But the profession to me is wide open. And if you're feeling stuck, and that you don't have any other options, you shouldn't feel that way. Just realize it's a wide open field, so take advantage of opportunities.
Amen.
Yeah, definite. But yeah, I'm excited about your new opportunity. It's led to you moving to a new state, so tell me about that.
Yes. So I used to be in Georgia along with you, but I lived in Savannah.
Mhm.
And then for this opportunity, I relocated me and my family down to Miami, Florida. Not a place that I thought I would live, but it's very fun, very pet friendly,
Mhm.
which all the more talking about pets traveling and love to kind of talk about how more and more that is becoming a thing, that
Mhm.
pets are becoming part of our daily routine, meaning they're going with us to the grocery store, even though it says on the sign not to go
Right.
into the grocery store, but they do, especially here in Miami.
Mhm.
So pets are just going with us naturally, whether it's for a routine trip to the grocery store or a car trip. I was talking to a colleague about that recently. And more, we're seeing them in airports and flying for different reasons as well. So it's becoming more common and more natural. So I'm very excited for your brand to continue to grow and support people that are wanting to do that.
I appreciate it. Thank you. Yeah. So, and remind me, I thought you said you had a Great Dane or something big, didn't you?
Yes, I really hope I don't have to fly with my Great
Uh-huh.
Dane. But we have driven, we've moved. The poor dog has moved multiple times. She does great. She curls up in a ball and she does fine.
Yeah.
Uh, but yes, so I have a very large dog, which also has additional considerations if we do need to travel. Yes.
Oh, yeah. Folks have to consider that too. But yeah, I'm glad you don't have to worry about. I mean, I don't. Again, I know traveling folks will think for large breed dogs, oh, never go by cargo. But my focus on, remember, guys, the position and role that I play within Delta is within cargo, and I'm very familiar as far as that transport. And I really do believe if they're prepared properly, as far as acclimated to being confined in their crate, medically fit to fly, and then also in a compliant crate, they'll do perfectly fine and everything. You just have to get them prepared. So not the worst thing if you have to have your Great Dane and going by cargo, but if it's a short trip, like you're saying, hey, drive, and it sounds like your dog's a trooper. It's like no big deal. I'm just going to relax and take a nap and wind up in another state and we'll be perfectly fine, which is good. So, but if traveling by cargo is a requirement, as long as your pet is prepared, it's not. I really don't see it's a problem there. But again, it's going to take work on the pet owner's side, though. Just realize that.
Yeah, yeah. And I will say, even though I say she does well, I do know
Mhm.
that she is stressed. So
Yeah.
she is a dog with high anxiety, and so the way she deals with it is often being very quiet. So for us, it's great for travel because she's quiet,
Mhm.
but she still is nervous about what's going on. One, because
Yeah.
she doesn't fully understand what's going on. So it is something to be aware of, even if your pet is quiet they still are probably stressed or
Yeah.
have some type of anxiety to think about for any type of transportation, whether it's a short distance to the veterinary's office or if it's a longer road trip.
Right. You just have to get them prepared. And sometimes the more they go and travel, the easier they get. I have a good person that is usually on my podcast. She was on last year, and I have her scheduled this year. Her name is Leslie, and her dog's name is Puccini. He is a 17-year-old, I think, Yorkie Poodle kind of mix. He's been traveling with her internationally. Of course, he can go in cabin with her, but he's been traveling with her so much that he's perfect. He's accustomed to it. It's no big deal. And that's what the way you want your pet to be, where it's not a big deal. She said she talks to him and lets him know, hey, we're going to go on a big trip here. And he seems to understand, and they go ahead and do it. So it's really getting your pet prepared. They get acclimated to everything, or as far as routines with it, and they can do perfectly fine. But again, if you take for the first time ever and they've never been trained or acclimated to being confined in their crate, yeah, they're going to be anxious sometimes. And anxiety that they might show might be panting or might be flight. Well, not fright where they're just kind of quiet, or like I said, with the anxiety or fright level, they might freak out. So you just got to get them prepared.
Yeah. Well, and the other thing too, and I apologize if I specifically said dogs, but cats are traveling more now, and
Mhm.
I'm seeing more cats at the airport too.
Mhm.
So, talk about a species that really needs to
Yeah.
be prepared for travel. We talk about this again, just getting a cat to the veterinary clinic. We
Yeah.
talk about getting them acclimated to their carriers as
Right.
well, having it in spaces, their favorite blanket with, maybe a little pheromone spray, like all
Yes.
sorts of things that we can do. But talk about, same thing if you're having to travel, getting them accustomed to the experience slowly like that is really important to get them ready
Yeah.
for a trip.
Let me tell you a funny story about when I was in practice. One client, she kept making appointments for her cat to come in, but I have to cancel him because she would say she would try to catch him and she couldn't catch him in the carrier, and she was like, "I need somebody to help me," and I'm like, "I'm sorry, we really can't do that for you." But she was like, "I need someone to help me catch my cat because I can't get him." And then she's like, "Oh, he hisses," and it's like, "Hey, I'm sorry, ma'am, but there's not much we can do to assist on that process." But it is difficult for them. I think, though, in those instances where, since cats are so, they know that if they're going to carry, they're probably going to the veterinary hospital or something like that. Maybe keep the carriers out and let them get acclimated to being out. Feed them in it where it's like their safe haven, and they're okay with it. And you know what? Another thing it helps with too is, say if you're in a disaster situation where you have to evacuate, man, imagine you try to catch your cat in those instances. Here you're trying to save their life by we've got to go, and you can't catch them. So keep the carriers out, feed them in it, inside of it. Maybe it'll become like a safe haven for them, and they'll feel safe and they'll go in it better. But it's important for a lot of reasons to have them comfortable being in their crates, especially for cats.
Yes. Poor cats.
Yeah.
Routine is important for them.
Yes, 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 yes. So tell me. So you've been seeing. Give me your thoughts on pet travel and nutrition and all that. Because again, when we travel, we don't. Well, I'm not on. I don't. I'm not on a restricted diet. I can kind of eat almost anything. I don't have, say, gluten deficiencies or lactose intolerance or anything like that. So I can kind of eat wherever I want to eat. But I know for individuals that maybe have food tolerance level, things they can tolerate or not, they might have issues. But when you're traveling with pets, we've got to consider you can't just feed them anything when they're being transported. And that's either by air or traveling by ground transport. They can't just eat anything. So, what are your thoughts on nutrition and pets on special diets when they're traveling?
Yeah. You know what I was preparing about for this and thinking about it, I was actually thinking about myself, any type of change of routine. So this week, because we launched, we were like intense at the office all
Mm-hmm.
week. And just that change of my routine, I was eating different things. And
Mm-hmm.
while I'm not, like I don't have too many dietary restrictions, just that change of diet, and I'm still trying to eat healthy. I still had some like GI, like, whoa, okay, I know this is not my normal diet.
Right.
So, I mean, if you think about that for pets too, it can be very similar. If you're trying to change up their diet or their routine too much, they could have some similar GI upset. And then on top of it, potential the stress and anxiety on
Mm-hmm.
the change as well is probably not going to be very helpful. So to kind of go back to what we're talking about when it comes to trying to keep things or prepare them, get them used to different things, I like to even start with water because water is the most important nutrient.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're going to have a travel friendly bowl, for example, making sure that you are using that a couple weeks up and before the trip so they can get used to it. I also found that even though my dog is a dog, she kind of acts like a cat sometimes
Mm-hmm.
and may not like certain bowls or things to eat or drink out of. And so making sure that they get used to that bowl
Mm-hmm.
before you travel. And again, this could be a scenario where you're just going to the dog park, right? Maybe it's the first time you're taking your dog there. So making sure that they're used to drinking out of that bowl. So very important to be thinking about that for your dog. And then when it comes to food and as you know, thinking about how long am I going to be gone? How much food do I need
Mhm.
to take with me for this? If you have, well, there's so many different types of diets now. So if they're used to canned or fresh, really you might have to think about, what do I need to do to prepare my pet? Because
Mhm.
really hard to bring fresh food with you on a trip. So, do I need to start maybe transitioning them to something that's a little bit more transportable when I'm away? Because the other thing too that I have noticed is not many airports have, doggy food vending
I
machines.
know. I
There
was
are
just
a
thinking.
few, and I take pictures of them because I get so excited. But
Yeah.
there aren't that many, and so being as prepared as possible, just at least with the food with you, is something to definitely think about before you travel.
Definitely. And I could echo on to that. I believe the first time I ever saw a pet vending machine was in Vegas, but the last
Yeah.
time I was in Vegas, I couldn't find it. So I don't know if they're still there or not. But I saw a pet vending machine and I was so excited to see that they were selling something for pets in the airport, which is needed. Because you think about it, what about those instances? Say if you're traveling, you got your pet in cabin with you, and there's a long delay, and you don't know when you're flying out. And here you might go to McDonald's or what have you, get something to snack on. What are you going to feed your pet? You shouldn't give them the same thing you're eating because you're taking a big chance for a GI upset. And that's the worst place to have it during travel, especially the worst place to have it in the airport.
Yeah.
So, it would be nice if we could have, you need to be prepared, number one. It would be wonderful if all airports had a food source for pets, either the vending machines or inside these little shops, something to consider people traveling with pets.
Yeah. And the other thing that even at like truck stops or, stops along an interstate,
Mhm.
there's not a whole lot.
Yeah.
There was one, we were driving from here to not Universal, Orlando,
Mhm.
and one did have a vending machine. So I got very excited with dog products. But when I looked at it, there was nothing that was complete and balanced. It was all
There you
like
go.
treat, like a doggy cupcake. And I'm like, well, that's fun, but it's not very helpful
Right.
to your
That
dog.
might cause even further problems down the line.
Right, right, right. So, I mean, at least it's targeted, but still not the best solution. So,
Yeah.
again, making sure that you have something that is ideally complete and balanced. Ideally, it's their normal diet, because again, the more you change, the more you're going to challenge the GI tract. So,
Mhm.
um, definitely, if it has to be in a Ziploc bag, that's fine. The good thing is you may not have to do a full meal. If you are traveling, there is more anxiety, so you might want to do much smaller meals along the way, so they don't have a lot weighing in their tummy, because you don't want it to come up the other way
Mhm.
either. So that's also something to think about. But again, if you're going on a very long trip, especially international, one thing that it has come up. This was more that they were moving to another country. They moved to another country, and that country didn't have their pets' food.
Mhm.
So
Yep.
thinking about that, like, oh, I'll just get some when we get there, it actually may not be an option. So especially if you're doing international travel, make sure that it is something that you can get, or at least kind of have a game plan, if that is going to be the case.
Definite, definite, definite. Hold on one second here. I'm getting something here. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Oh, you're fine.
I'm just going so slow today. I apologize. No, very valuable stuff you're saying there, Megan. But no, as far as travel, well, tell me about those dogs that potentially. I mean, I want pet owners to definitely consider the ones that are on special diets. As you said,
Mhm.
sometimes they're not available in these locations, so you need to start working. If you're traveling, could be domestically, could be ground, could be international, and by air. Work with your veterinarian, especially if your dog is on a prescription diet, to keep consistency with that, because you don't want, say, if you have a dog that has underlying kidney disease or need those special diets from prescription diets. What are your thoughts on that?
Oh yeah, definitely. especially the veterinary diets, because that definitely changes from country to country, even going to Canada.
Mhm.
Sorry, that is not the United States. It's a different country.
Uh-huh.
So they have different products. I definitely learned that working for Royal Canin. It's very well aware that they don't have the same. So it's definitely like a point that you need to be asking your veterinarian when you're having that pre-travel discussion with them, to talk about that. Like, make sure you have enough before you go. If is there a contingency plan if this is like a
Yeah.
must trip and they may not have it wherever you're going.
Mhm.
Trying to think about different options. But yeah, that makes it even more complicated if for some reason you don't have a food. And so even though you say, oh, we'll just figure it out, I'll give pretzels or whatever, like all the more that they could be very specific
Right.
needs. It's like food allergies are big.
Yeah.
A big concern potentially, because they could be allergic to different things. So they're on a very strict diet there. Kidney disease, again, especially, is going to be important probably for multiple reasons, because there's probably a lot of medical questions you'll probably want to discuss with your veterinarian for travel purposes. Diabetes is
Oh
probably
my
a big
goodness.
one,
Right.
very related to timing diet with insulin or whatever the medical plan
Yeah.
is for them. They can be very sensitive to changes in diet. So definitely nutrition should always be a conversation in every visit with a veterinarian, but all the more when you're planning out a trip.
Yeah. But you know what? And you made me think about that more too. I know I mentioned kidney disease, but this goes on a line, to be honest with you, is discussing with your veterinarian as far as a pet being medically fit to fly. Now,
Mm.
I understand if a person is traveling, say relocation internationally or relocation across the U.S., different side of the country, I can understand maybe wanting air travel in those instances. But if it's a routine, I want to go on vacation, I want to take my pet with me, you might want to reconsider some of those things because, again, are they medically fit to fly? You mentioned a diabetic pet. Man, timing of food and insulin is extremely important. And the airlines, they're not set up to ensure compliance with your regimen for medication or feeding schedules and stuff like that. That is not the responsibility of the airline. So assuming that it'd be okay may not be good for your pet because again, these it's crucial that they're, especially for diabetics pets, they eat and they're given insulin at the appropriate times and everything. So again, talk with your veterinarian. I'm going to always go back to speak with your veterinarian about these things to make sure your pet is medically fit to fly, making sure just a lot of things because you just don't want there to be a problem during transport with your pet.
Yeah, absolutely. I actually had a question for you when I
Mhm.
was thinking about this. So we talked about potential GI upset or
Mhm.
anything. I was curious that if you have a any type of animal in cargo, if they for some reason defecate or vomit or something like that, what is the plan? Is there like, is that how you get called? Like what happens there? Just maybe to ease
Well,
some pet parents.
ease their mind. I mean, vomiting is bad because that's usually a sign of underlying. I mean, something's really seriously going wrong with that pet. Now, if this happens, say it happens in the crate before even go on the plane, that's a key indicator that pet might not be healthy to travel. And also, to be honest with you, even diarrhea that before travel, that could be both indicators that this pet is not a good candidate for travel because he's got some underlying condition. And that could be a call for, hey, you need to come pick up your pet.
Mm.
Um, and that is not a good candidate. If it happens during transport, say transit areas, that could be an indicator that that pet needs medical care immediately too. Within Delta, we do have procedures in place if we find that pet this looks ill during transport. That actually is a regulatory requirement under USDA that the airline seeks medical care for that pet on behalf of that pet to ensure they're safe during transport. So vomiting or diarrhea or any other clinical signs, lethargy, um, can lead to that pet being taken to a veterinary hospital, say if it transfers to, to a location or even a destination. If it's not ill upon arrival, could be an indicator that we need to seek veterinary care to ensure the safety of that pet during transport. So I do know, I don't know about the other airlines, but I do know within Delta we do. And I don't know if I told you, I have to tell you my great story where our agents stepped up and it was great. There
Oh.
was a puppy being transported from, and this was years ago. This is before the pandemic, but a puppy was being transported from California, transferred through Atlanta, and it was supposed to be going to Pennsylvania to its owner. Um, on arrival in Atlanta, one of the astute ramp agents noticed that the puppy was lethargic, was not doing well. I think there was poop in the cage. He just wasn't doing well. So did kind of stop this, basically did not move it forward to go to the destination. Alerted our internal system and we sought veterinary care for the puppy. Well, what happened with the puppy is that he pooped in his cage, ingested it, and then aspirated. So he's in respiratory distress because he aspirated his own poop, unfortunately. It was touch and go for a few days. For actually a few days, it was really touch and go. But the puppy was taken to a local veterinary hospital, was treated, and survived. After 2 weeks, was back to normal health. And I had the pleasure of, because now he's healthy, he can move forward. And I was like, he is not going by cargo again. I am not trusting this puppy going by cargo. So I took him in cabin and delivered him to the pet owner in Pennsylvania. So great story. We do care. It was a great opportunity. And again, it showed that working together and the systems that we had in place does ensure the safety of pets during transport. So it was a great story. Loved it.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
that's a great call out too of maybe questions for people to ask your veterinarian too is maybe what signs to look for if you're worried that there might be a concern so that the pet parent, especially if they're staying with their pet,
Mhm.
they can look for signs of lethargy or,
Yes.
GI
Yes.
upsets, things that are more severe where you need to stop and look for care.
Yeah, definite. It also goes to show you with certain things, as far as certain pets, the brachycephalic breeds, how they don't do well during transport in cabin, or they don't do well normally. I got one sitting right here that's difficulty, snorts and snores and everything just routinely. When they're stressed, it gets worse. And, for folks that don't know, they they can overheat very easily. They pant. Panting is how they release heat, but with these breeds, they don't do it that well. So they overheat, and if you're not attended to quickly enough, they can go into respiratory distress, heat stroke, and die. And you don't want that to happen. And a lot of times, in situations, pets traveling by cargo, these breeds traveling by cargo, they're restricted, and that's the reason why, because there's no one to attend them while they're being transported by cargo. Now, a lot of airlines will allow pets, these breeds, the brachycephalic breeds, to go in cabin, but it doesn't mean that they don't have those same clinical signs going to develop because they're in cabin. They're with the pet owner, but if the pet owner doesn't know how to respond or they don't respond quickly enough, if they can't get the pet oxygen, it's the same scenario. They will overheat, heat stroke, and death, unfortunately.
Ooh.
So, but that's an education that veterinarians need to really start sharing with these owners of these particular breeds, that they're probably not the ideal candidate for air travel because of that.
Yeah, and they're the number one breed now, according to the
No, I know.
AKC. So there's
Yeah.
a lot of opportunity for that conversation potentially for
Yes.
veterinarians. So all the more for the veterinarian to be aware of at least general rule. I mean, we understand the challenges of brachycephalic breeds, but like to understand that there may be airlines that say, no, like we will not take that breed because of our concerns of their health, so that the veterinarian needs to really be upfront and educating the pet parent before, while they're even having a conversation about travel in general. So
Yeah.
yeah, that definitely a role that the veterinarian can play to keep pets safe
Yeah.
and
So
pet parents from getting upset.
I know they get upset because they don't get what they want, but they don't realize the reason behind it is really for the safety of their pet. So it might
Right.
not be ideal for you or convenient for you, but realize this rule is in place to protect your pet. So just understand that.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So am I allowed to ask you about the program that you're wanting to design for veterinarians that will it help them know some of these types of questions to talk to pet
Yeah.
parents about?
Yeah. Yeah, Dr. Megan and I were discussing offline some ideas that I had to improve in the veterinary profession. And this year, actually, I'm very excited because I am actually speaking more at veterinary conferences and really sharing my ideas on how to ensure animal welfare during transport. And you might wonder, what the heck do I mean when I say animal welfare? Basically, I just want to make sure what veterinarians could do to protect animal welfare, and the welfare would be their safety during transport, making sure they're medically fit to fly, making sure they're prepared for this journey. That's by being acclimated to being confined in their crate. All these things have to be done to ensure their safety during transport. Even being in a compliant crate, knowing what that looks like for their safety, just sharing that information. And I think that should come from veterinarians. It shouldn't come from crowdsourced information on the internet with a pet travel group giving you tips. They're giving you logistics. What I'm trying to share is that really air travel is a medical event, it's a regulatory event, and also it's an animal welfare event. All of those are tied together. Logistics is, to me, logistics is like checklist. I did this, I did that, and I'm ready. But no, is your pet ready? And that's what I'm trying to focus on. So I was sharing with Dr. Megan is that what I want to do, and what I plan to do, is develop a system that veterinarians can utilize to help with this whole process. So that's my goal.
Yeah, I'm very excited for it. I
Yeah.
think also, I was talking about my podcast, Vet Life Reimagined, and this is an opportunity too that if veterinary professionals are interested in trying something new or finding a niche that they can enjoy and appreciate, you can actually become extremely educated in
Mhm.
pet travel and make that a niche. So you're the person that people want to come to for those types of
Mhm.
conversations, whether it's other veterinary professionals or pet owners. So I think this is an opportunity to, when we say you can get more education, it doesn't have to be like a 2, 3, 4 year degree that you get to, pivot your career or evolve your career.
Mhm.
It can be getting specific targeted CE type of education or just general education, learning about something, and then you can be known as the go-to person. So if people are interested, and especially if they're seeing more and more of these types of cases of people interested in traveling with their pet, this is a great opportunity to learn from the source, in my opinion.
Mhm.
You're my go-to person for this, to develop this kind of niche for you and your career. So just kind
Mhm.
of a call out there for for those who are
Appreciate it.
interested in the topic.
Thank you. No, it really is. There's a lot. I do get some folks that will ask me. I had a young veterinarian, he's in veterinary school right now. He was asking me for resources of what to do and everything and everything. So you know what my response is, I want to help him, but you know what I think really is more important is, why don't you research it and tell me? You know, because to me, a lot of times, if you think about it, don't you learn more when you research it yourself, really put your efforts in there? If I gave you all the resources, yeah, that helped you, but do it yourself sometimes. If you're really interested in a topic, you dig deep into it. You find all the things together with it and everything. I mean, it's nice if someone can hand it to you, but that's not how life always is. It's not always structured. Right now, what I'm doing is not structured. I can't say this association will help you here and that will. You've got to really put in the effort yourself. Sometimes it's even through opportunities. Mine came through opportunities and different job experiences, learning, and that helped me. And going from there, I mean, being hired with Delta, honestly, I learned a side that I had no idea existed. I mean, and I share a lot of things with you guys, but there's stuff that I still haven't even gotten around to because it's just amazing. Just learning about aircrafts and their capabilities, and then you can understand, well, folks might not understand, why is it that, say, my pet can't go by cargo on this aircraft? Why can't he be on the same aircraft as I? If I'm in cabin, why can't he be below? Because sometimes that aircraft might not have the capability to transport live animals there. It might not be ventilated in the cargo hold. It might not have temperature controls. So there are all these variations of different aircrafts. It's like, wow, never knew it. So you just learn all these different things that comes into play, and it just helps with the whole process of learning the whole process. So there's a lot I haven't shared yet. There's more to come. Basically, the things that I've learned working with Delta in the airline industry that I'll share over time. But it's eye-opening, to be honest with you. Very eye-opening.
I think it's also helpful just to know what's around you and the actual need, because
Mhm.
if you live in Miami, you might have a lot of international travel because we're such a hub that you can
Uh-huh.
go so many different places, even direct. So that might be something you want to focus in on. If you're in, I don't know, in another part of the country, you may have different needs that are around travel. You and I were talking about an article that I sent you
Yeah.
about there's this new trend now that for certain surgical procedures, people are crossing the border out of the United States because they can find it for a cheaper cost. So this kind of was reminding us of where some humans will go out of the country for certain procedures.
Right.
Uh, but like that might be something that's more relevant for you locally. So I think even if you get a great direction on a bulk of information, it's still important to know the audience who you're serving and what are the biggest issues and concerns that they are dealing with, and making
Uh-huh.
sure that you're just like any good business person, right? Like, you know, the challenge of the people that you're serving. So yeah, I don't know if you wanted to comment on
I
that article.
I love that article. And just if folks haven't heard about it, Dr. Megan had shared an article about, and I'm sorry, I'm probably paraphrasing, but it was an article about pet owners going to Tijuana for veterinary care for their pets because it was cheaper, and they were promoting that. And it just opened up a can of worms for me, because I'm like, wait a minute. I mean, it makes me laugh because, again, it makes you think about, hey, I'm going to Mexico to get a BBL procedure. I don't know, something crazy, something like that. But then it's like, wow, they're taking their pets there. Now, it's one thing for us to go to a country and get something done and come back. It's not much of a big deal. We don't think about it. But you have to remember, your pet is an animal, and there's regulations as far as crossing borders with your pet. You can't just do that. And then there's also diseases that's in certain countries that are not here in the United States. Here, going to Tijuana, Mexico, you have New World screwworm, which is huge. That potentially that's for the most part was eradicated in the United States, and it's coming back, or they're seeing instances of it, and you don't want your pet to get exposed to this, because this is the only fly larva, I think, that eats live flesh. The other fly maggots or whatever, they eat dead flesh. This one goes after live, healthy flesh. So that's bad.
It's
So
very
either
gross.
way, yeah, that's serious. So you don't want to take your pet to a country and potentially expose them to that and come back here to the United States. And then also, the sad thing about going to another country to get veterinary care, say if it's a surgical procedure, where's the aftercare? Where's the follow-up? All those things you have to consider. You know, is your routine veterinarian going to take over follow-up? Because a lot of situations, there needs to be recurring care. So just a lot to consider for your pet, and like I said, for regulations, disease control, and all these things just to consider. So, but it was a great article. I really enjoyed that.
Yeah, I thought of you when I read it. I was like,
Yeah,
oh, Nelva's gonna like this one.
yeah, I loved it. I loved it. I loved it. So, wow. Well, folks, we are going to have to wrap up soon, because we both have a quick stop ourselves. So, but is there anything in particular? I really enjoyed the conversation. Dr. Megan is awesome. I'm so excited to see that you have grown and new opportunities for you. I definitely am excited about you continuing all too, because I know you're busy, but you're definitely going to continue with Vet Life Reimagined, because that is a really great podcast you're doing to really inspire veterinarians out there as far as opportunities there in the profession. So is there anything else you want to share with us before you go?
Oh, goodness. I am happy to answer any question people have around nutrition, or if you're in the veterinary profession, if you have questions around veterinary medicine and career pathing. I love to talk with people. I'm very big on relationship building, so happy to help. Don't hesitate to reach out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And if you have any questions about pet travel, though, you probably want to go to Nelva. So.
Okay. Thank you. And I'm sorry I didn't put it on here, but you're on you're definitely on LinkedIn.
Yes, that is my like primary platform that
Okay.
I post on. But I am on YouTube. I'm pretty much on all of them.
Okay.
Just kind of depends on if you want more personal life Megan or professional life Megan. But yes, you can find me pretty much anywhere. I'm happy to help.
Well, thank you. Thank you so much. We'll have you again, I'm sure, in the future, coming back to give us up, because we definitely need to update about what's going on with your future plans.
Golden child. Yeah, we're just starting. So
thank you. Okay. Well, thank you everyone for watching us. We'll be with you again next week. Again, thanks for joining. Bye-bye.